What's up, guys? So today I'm taking the 2005 silver Mamba Edition Viper over to Cordis Performance. They're going to be doing a nitrous tune. So I bought this car. It has a full nitrous outlet system in it, and previous owner never sprayed it. He installed everything. It's got a NOS launcher, progressive controller in it. Really intricate, sweet system. I'll show you guys under the hood later, but it's never been sprayed. So never had a tune on it for the spray, never had any kind of nitrous run through it, aside from just being purged a few times. So we're going to get that all dialed in, hooked up, and Cordis is going to put it on the dyno. We're probably just going to spray something like a small 150 shot to start off, just because it's a factory Gen 3. The factory bottom end on these can only handle about somewhere between 675 to 700 safely on pump gas. So that's about where we'll leave it, and I'm really excited to see the results. I can't wait to feel this car on spray. All right, guys, let's go for a drive. Alright guys, we're cruising at Cordis Performance in the silver 2005 Mamba Edition Viper. Last weekend I put the new nav unit in. The old one had a really busted up screen, so this one looks brand new. It looks amazing in here. As you can see, you got your wideband gauge, tells you your air-fuel ratio, and then you got your nitrous pressure. And I armed it just to make sure that everything works on the way, and as you can see, it's got 200 psi. Bottle's basically empty. You got all your nitrous switches here, so you have your arm disarm button, your heater, you have your opener, and your purge. So everything you need. I got the windows closed right now, air conditioning on. This car is so much fun to drive. Previous owner did all the right things to it. Full bolt-ons, gears. You know, it's got the 19-20-inch setup, BC coilovers. I mean, just tons and tons of stuff. Upgraded throttle body, headers, full exhaust, tune. So I'm really excited to see what this car puts down on 91 on and off the nitrous. It's gonna be interesting to see what kind of numbers it makes. Everybody always rips on these Gen 3 Vipers. You know, they say it's like the ugly duckling of Vipers because, you know, at least Gen 4s have the Gen 5 motor, right? They have the 8.4 liter V10 in there. Well, the Gen 3s have a 8.3 liter that makes 505 horses. But to me, honestly, the Gen 3 is probably one of, if not the most fun to drive Vipers. Your throttle is, it's not throttle by wire. It's not electronic like it is on the Gen 4 and 5. On the Gen 3, it's like the Gen 2. It's cable-driven throttle. So the car is extremely responsive and explosive, and you just feel really in tune with it. Here, we're gonna turn, give it a little bit of gas. It got some nice pops and bangs. I mean, this thing sounds amazing. Previous owner, he was trying to find the perfect setup for an exhaust on it, so he went through a couple iterations. I know at one point he had a full Bellinger headers exhaust. I believe he then tried a Borla system, and everything was just a little bit too loud. So what he settled on, so the car has full, it's got headers on it, I believe Bellinger, and then it's got a catless up pipe to a Gen 4 catback exhaust on it. So it's basically an OEM catback with a catless up pipe and headers. And it makes it sound really tame, really smooth when cruising around. There's zero drone. It almost sounds like, I mean, pretty much, I wouldn't say stock, but it sounds like a variation of stock. It's not a crazy wild setup on this car. But when you get in on it, when you're at the high revs, it absolutely screams. It takes on a whole different note. And it's like night and day, because when you're cruising this thing around, you're like, you know, it sounds so tame. It sounds like a stock Viper with maybe a catback on it. And yeah, when you rip it open, you can tell this thing's definitely not stock. It's a ton of fun to drive. Anytime I get to drive this car, I'm just grinning ear to ear. It's awesome. I love this thing. All right, we're just cruising down the highway here in Arizona. Just cruising to the shop. Air conditioning is on level 2, and it is ice cold in this car. I've never ran the AC before in it, so I didn't know what to expect. Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be lukewarm? Is it going to be just cool? But no, this thing is blowing cold, so I'm really happy with that. It drives so nice. Nice and quiet inside, and if you recall, this car's it's a convertible, right? Usually in convertibles, you hear a ton of rattles, things shaking, windows rattling. No, this thing is silent inside. It's incredible for a vert. Super impressive car. So, if you're debating which Gen Viper to buy, I highly recommend a Gen 3 vert. I think bang for the buck, you just can't beat it. You know, you get a convertible, you get a manual, rear-wheel drive, V10, all motor. You know, the only other platform that gives you a manual V10 would be basically a gated Gallardo. Because I mean, Ferrari-wise, you had the F430, which was a gated V8. I'm just trying to think gated V10 in a rear-wheel drive coupe. Yeah, I think gated Gallardo, you know, is really one of the only cars that comes to mind. Oh, gated R8, I guess, you know, V10. They have I think the 5.2, same as the Gallardo. But I mean, where else can you get a rear-wheel drive manual V10 2-door sports car for under $100,000? You know, and it's easy to work on. It's super reliable. Parts are much cheaper than a Lambo or even an Audi. Yeah, bang for the buck. You just can't beat these cars. And if you're talking about everyone's always talking about the raw driving experience. I want the analog raw driving experience. I want it to be, manual. I want to feel the car. I want to feel the emotion. You don't get any more of that than with, a Gen 2 or a Gen 3 Viper. I've never owned a Gen 1. I mean, Gen 1s I'm sure are fun too, but with only 400 horses, I'm sure they leave a little to be desired. But I'll do a review once I actually get a chance to own and drive an RT10 Gen 1. But until then, I've driven a bunch of Gen 2s. I've had a bunch of Gen 3s. I've had a couple Gen 4s, my Gen 5, and yeah, bang for the buck wise, Gen 2 and Gen 3 cars are the absolute best. Gen 3 cars are much more refined than Gen 2s. Air conditioning is much better in the Gen 3s. Cabin doesn't get as hot. I could drive this car across the country easily. I could also drive a Gen 2 across the country, but it has its quirks. If you're in stop and go traffic, you might overheat a little bit. And a lot of people are, oh no, my Gen 2 doesn't overheat. I've upgraded aluminum radiator. I've 99 plus fans or whatever, this and that. But I mean, I've had a bunch of Gen 2s. They all get hot in traffic, no matter what kind of cooling mods you do. Whereas I've had a couple Gen 3s now, and I've driven them in the summer, and they do not get over 210. I mean, ever. I don't think I've ever seen the gauge over 210. They just kind of stay at that 190, 200 level. So, and I mean, here in Arizona, it's hot. It gets up to 115 in the summer. So it's a true test of whether a car can run cool or not in stop and go traffic. And if you have a car that you want to drive daily, hop in, drop the top on nice nights, nice days, have heat, AC when you need it, runs cool, runs warm, and obviously in the winter, highly recommend the Gen 3. They're so easy to drive, they're so fun, and a couple of mods, and they just, I mean, they're crazy. This car with bolt-ons, to me, feels just as fast, if not faster, than a bolt-on Gen 4. I've had both, and honestly, doing pulls back-to-back in them, I can't tell a difference. They pull really hard up top. Down low, they're a bit tame. But, man, up top, they scream. Gen 3s and Gen 4s are just, like, full, high rev, up top, roll race cars, in my opinion. All right, we just got here. We're at Cordis Performance. Best shop in Arizona if you're looking to mod your any GM, LS, LT, Hellcats, Mustangs. They do it all. So here's the car again. The car is actually dirty right now. Once I clean it up, I'm gonna have JP Platinum come out and do a full detail on it, like I do all the cars that come through. But this car looks absolutely stunning. It's got the Strass Forge 3-piece wheels. These are the S5 Performance Series. It has the APR carbon air dam, Autoform carbon TA spoiler. It's got the GTS, or not the GTS, but the coupe fuel door conversion. It's pretty sweet and unique. A lot of guys are like, "Where'd you get that gas door?" And yeah, it's a pretty cool little mod. Previous owner did, and then I installed the extended diffuser blades there on the back, so it just kind of makes the back end look a bit meaner. Stance is dialed in on BC coilovers. Previous owner had it a little bit lower in the back, but the car also has a set of 18-inch wheels on drag radios that can be swapped back and forth, a matching set. So you kind of want a little bit more room there because those wheels are about an inch taller than these. Being a 345/35/18 Mickey Thompson, and these being 345/25/20 Pirelli P0s. But man, if this isn't one of the best looking Gen 3s I've ever seen, I don't know what is. It looks just insane. Guys, we just got back from Cordis Performance, dropped off the silver 2005 Viper to have the nitrous activated and turned on, have the bottle filled, and work any quirks out. They're going to dyno it on the NA setup first, and then we're going to get it basically a full dyno tune on HP tuners. Right now it's on SCT, but we're going to change it over to HPT. And so on HP tuners, they're going to dyno tune the NA setup, and then they're going to dyno tune the nitrous setup. And hopefully the car will put down somewhere in the 600s. You know, I told Joe, don't push it. You know, the factory Gen 3 motors aren't the strongest, so you don't want to go too hard on the nitrous. But we're thinking somewhere, you know, 125, 150 shot will be a really nice power adder, and something you can run all the time, and it'll be super safe. Won't have to worry about nothing. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Next episode, I'll try to vlog when I get the car back, and hopefully everything goes as planned. So fingers crossed. All right, take care, guys. Bye.